So I've been collecting fragrances long enough to kind of have a pretty good understanding of the life cycle these days and kind of what goes on, and you kind of understand what to expect anymore. And really, I'm talking about discontinuation. You know, when I was first starting out, one of the things that first affected me was Invictus Aqua. You know, I got into that one at the peak of its hype, and that's when I was really starting out. I started my collection kind of in the beginning of 2017, started my channel towards the end of 2017, like in September or so. And so kind of during that time period there, Invictus Aqua 2016 was really snowballing and getting a ton of hype. Of course, I got my bottle in. I loved it immediately. Became one of my favorites. And still to this day, I love that DNA for summertime. And then rumors started, you know, popping up of, oh, this one is being discontinued. You're not going to be able to buy it anymore. And that was a first for me. That was, you know, my first scent that I liked that was going to be unavailable to purchase at some point. And it was quite upsetting. At the time, you know, I didn't really have a whole lot of money to buy a bunch of backup bottles, and so I didn't really. It wasn't until maybe a year or two later I was kind of trying to go out there and buy some and getting them off of eBay and paying way too much for them and that sort of thing. So fast forward to now, I've seen it, I've been through it, and every time something starts to look a little weird, or every time I just really end up enjoying a scent, I buy backup bottles of it. A lot of times I'll start well before anything is weird. Like Acqua di Gio Profumo, I've been collecting and hoarding bottles of that for the past, I don't know, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years. And just like this year, it was kind of being discontinued. So I saw that one way in advance and I prepared for it. Now with Profumo, the PARFUM is out. It's not the end of the world, but I still have a big stockpile of that I'm sitting on that I'm never going to let go of. And I've done the same with a lot of my other favorites as well, because I don't want to be without these. Generally, the discontinued scents are the ones that aren't selling that well in the mass market, but those are the ones we like the most because they are a little bit unique and creative. And so that's why I really like a lot of the ones that end up getting discontinued. And so today what I'm going to do, a little bit of a different idea. I'm going to go through some scents that are worth hoarding. And by the way, I'm not condoning you to buy backup bottles. I'm not. For a lot of people, it's not a good idea. You can put your money to much better use. This is not me saying you need to go out and buy these or hoard these. This is not me saying you need backup bottles. If you do want some and you're someone who likes these fragrances here that I'm going to be talking about today, understand that the long-term future availability of these is going to be limited. So either buy a backup bottle or two now and be prepared for that, or just cut your losses when the time comes. I'll drop links to these down below where I can. Some you can get still easily right now. Others are in or out, and you just have to be paying attention. If you do want to be notified when anything rare comes up, jump on my mailing list and my texting list, but we'll talk about that later. Mercedes-Benz Club Extreme is up first. This is kind of a revived one. So for the longest time, this has been sold out everywhere. Couldn't find it anywhere, you know. And now it's back on a couple of discounters. It's been in stock for around $40 to $50. This one is all about the patchouli, and the way I've described this one is it's a more wearable version of Mugler's Angel Men. So it's more wearable and also more affordable. Angel Men, you know, it's around that $80 100 milliliter mark on discounters, and again, this one is 40 to 50-ish. And, you know, if the price difference isn't enough to really get you excited, the fact that this one is easier to pull off and maybe a bit more mass-pleasing might do that for you. And that's why I like it personally. I already have a bottle of Angel Men, so it's not like I was picking this up for the price savings because I wanted to. It was just because, one, it was rare and I wanted to get it forever. And once I got it in and I tried it and I wore it many times and tested it out, I really have come to like this one. It's super easy to pull off. It gives you a little bit of that kind of chocolatey, coffee, kind of woody dustiness that you get from Angel Men. It's just on a much more simple level, and it's going to be a lot easier to get your money's worth out of this. Like I said, this is one that is just randomly popped back up. I don't know why. It's kind of a weird thing, but that does happen from time to time. And so if you're looking to pick this one up, now would be the time. If you already have a bottle and you want to get another one, maybe you've been without it, a backup for the longest time, now would be the time to do it, especially while you can get it for that price. I mean, you don't want to pay eBay prices for this one, so get it while you can. Now, this next one is a little bit tougher. You really got to be on the lookout, or just let me be on the lookout and I'll notify you about it. But it's L'Homme Ultime by YSL. This one got a ton of praise in the community. It did very well in the fragrance community, not so much outside of it. And, you know, that's kind of is what all that matters to the designer brands, is the big numbers outside of us, because we're just a drop in the ocean. You know, we are nothing. You know, we don't contribute near to the amount of sales volume as the mass market does. So this one's got ginger, rose, cedar wood. It's so interesting. You know, this is exactly what we as consumers in the community ask for and hope for, something different and unique and exciting. And that's exactly what this one is. A beautiful, bright ginger scent with some nice supporting woods, a little bit spicy, a slight bit earthy, bright and fresh. It is perfect for spring. The rose gives it a little bit of a floral component, but it's a fresher rose, nothing too sweet or heavy. It's not like an oudi Middle Eastern style of rose, quite the opposite. So this is yet another one that is unique, something different, kind of is the same thing there, I suppose. And then also wearable. Because it's not going too far in any direction, it kind of stays pretty neutral. It's something you could pull off in a lot of different situations, and realistically, in a lot of seasons. I think spring is what this one was made for, but, you know, climate-controlled summer, summer mornings, summer evenings, just avoiding like the 90-degree sun beating down on you time, and then fall and winter, sure, if you wanted to. It works for a lot of things. I don't think I have very many backup bottles of this. I think I probably picked up one. I wish I would have gotten more, and if I have the chance, I will. Stronger With You absolutely is up next. This one, I don't believe to be discontinued. I'll just say that up front. I don't think that's the case. The other two we've talked about so far are. This one, not so much. However, U.S. market is you know, tough to pick this one up in. So this one is the Stronger With You DNA, but with a pretty heavy focus on some rum. So it's a little bit more boozy, a little bit more grown up, a little bit more mature, more refined. This is my personal favorite flanker, and it sucks that it's the hardest one to find. You can pretty consistently get the intensely version. You can always get the original, you know, and then sometimes even a few of the other like leather and oud and amber, those are sometimes easier to get than this one. So it's just kind of how it goes. And so it's not so much, oh, you need to stockpile a bunch of bottles right now because it's discontinued now and going away forever. That's not really what it is. I don't think that this one will be around forever. I can't see that happening. They're going to continue to pump out flankers. And yes, while this is kind of within the three, the EDT, EDP, and Parfum, I just see them moving on and doing other things. Main reason why I would say, hey, maybe pick up a bottle of this extra to have laying around is for the fact that, say you run low and you burn through it, and it's not coming in stock for the foreseeable future, and you want to wear it while it's still cold out, tear into your backup. That'll get you through the season, and then you'll be good. It's kind of something I think about when it comes to these more sporadically in stock fragrances. So definitely want to pick up for that reason. Prada L'Homme Intense, there's always been some weirdness going on with this. One of my favorite flankers, if not, well, it is my favorite flanker of Prada L'Homme. You know, I would take this over the original Prada L'Homme any day, and I've said that long before this one was hard to get. For the people who say, oh, you're just saying that because it's hard to find now. Not true. You know, there was a point where this was readily available. Basically, close your eyes and point at your favorite discounter on a wall, and they have it in stock for a good price. There was a point where that's when this one was at, and that's when I was talking about how much I love it and how much I prefer it to the original, because this one has leather, more tonka. It's heavier, it's a little bit richer, it's more interesting to me. Now, the original Prada L'Homme is still a fantastic designer scent. It's perfect for daily wear, to work, to school, to the office, whatever. It's fantastic. But from a, you know, fragrance enthusiast standpoint, this one is the more interesting scent. And so it's unfortunate that this one is all tricky to get. It pops up on discounters here and there, and it's another one I send out notifications for. You just had to be on the lookout, though. I've got quite a few backup bottles of this one. This is one that I went in on, you know, as soon as it was starting to get iffy, and I don't regret that. I love the DNA. Plan on having it around forever. Love throwing this one on. It's another one that's very versatile. It's not my top choice for summertime, but pretty much any other time of the year when there's just a little bit of a cool temp in the air, I'll go for this one. Let's go over to PACO Rabanne, you know, talking about Invictus Aqua in the beginning of the video. PACO Rabanne, they pump out so many fragrances that they are also, you know, very common to discontinue scents. And it's weird with Invictus Aqua because you would think that thing was selling like crazy outside of the, you know, the fragrance community world, but it doesn't. I don't know. They still discontinued it anyway. So I don't know what the deal was there. Of course, they still have the original Invictus around. They're continuing to pump out the new flankers each year that will slowly get cut out over time as it goes. This is one that I fully understand being discontinued from, you know, the XS line. It's Pure XS Night. So, man, is this good stuff. Now, the original Pure XS is fantastic, and it's still fully in production. You can grab that one like, I don't know, $45, $55 on discounters. You can get testers, and I do believe they still come with the cap because at one point they were attached via a hinge. I do think they changed that on the newer ones. Could be wrong. I think it comes with a cap, though, for testers. Great way to go. Now, this one is considerably more challenging than that. It's got a lot of ginseng and ginger, okay? Some myrrh, some sweet notes in here, tonka bean, woods. It's the ginger and ginseng combination that this one has off the top that will immediately make it a love or hate for a lot of you guys out there. It is spicy as soon as you hit the atomizer on this, and it's not for everybody. It threw me off when I first got it in several times. You know, I was like, man, that has a real kick to it, and it does. In the air, it's going to make me sneeze. In the air, it's strong. You know, you get that spiciness. But if you get it on skin and then you smell it that way, it's a whole different ball game. It really is just, it leaves an impact. I love that about it. This is, again, the type of thing that we kind of want when it comes to fragrances. Something new and exciting, that's what it is. So it makes total sense that they discontinued it. I saw that one coming. In terms of my backup bottle situation on this one, I don't even know. That's the thing. It gets so bad, I don't know. I don't think it's looking too good. So I'm going to be on the lookout for this one. Probably grab at least one, maybe a couple if it comes up for a good price. It's another one that pops up from time to time. So I highly recommend looking into this one if you want a pretty unique offering. This is the type of thing that, you know, because it is discontinued, especially now, you can wear this out and you're not going to smell like anyone else. Like, it's that different, and because you really can't buy it anymore, you're going to stand out big time. That's what's really cool about discontinued scents. You know, you look at all the big popular ones, Gucci Envy and stuff that were popular, but no one's wearing that stuff anymore. So that's kind of what's cool about them. Okay, this next one is actually a clone, and this is a good one to go for if you have missed out on picking up what this is cloning. And what this is cloning does still pop up from time to time. It's no problem. But if you don't want to spend that money, this is one you can grab, and grab a couple bottles. You could probably grab, I don't know, 3 bottles of this clone for the price of one that it's cloning. And so 300 milliliters versus 100 milliliters, I mean, it's a great way to go if you're okay with that. It is Fragrance World, and what is it? A Jack of Clubs, Jack of whatever. So this one, man, it is just shockingly similar to La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique. That's what this one's all about. And so La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique, it shocked the fragrance community because it was very similar to La Nuit de l'Homme. And that was one of those situations where a lot of people didn't get it. And I would wager to say that a lot of those people, and it's not throwing shade at them, are newer to the community, and you haven't been able to bask in what was at one point one of the most rich and heavy and just fascinating cardamom scents, and that is La Nuit de l'Homme that isn't present day formulation La Nuit de l'Homme. Now, of course, I wasn't around at the time that that was released either in terms of the fragrance community, but I do have bottles of it. I went out there, I paid my money for it, and spent a lot of it on some first formulation 4-digit batch code La Nuit de l'Homme, and some first formulation bottles or second formulation, first reformulation bottles, as I was trying to say. So I have a lot of that original DNA, and there truly is a difference. Performance-wise, not a huge difference, but scent, character, and depth, big time. And so having experienced those and then swapping back to my new bottle of La Nuit de l'Homme, and because I don't want to wear out my old bottles, right? Massive difference. La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique, it brings you back some of that rich, heavy cardamom with a little bit of a modern twist. It was a fantastic release. I don't care what anybody says. I love that stuff, but that's because I love La Nuit de l'Homme, and I've seen the progression of it over the years firsthand. And so this, or Bleu Electrique, got back to that original. quickly discontinued after not even a year and been hard to find ever since. This is a clone of it, and they did a fantastic job. Like I said, Blue Electrique still pops up from time to time. I send out a notification every time, guys, so it's not too challenging to get. But if you don't want to spend that, you don't want to wait, grab a couple bottles of this clone. It is fantastic. I love it. Speaking of PACO Rabanne, we'll go with 1 million Lucky. It's all about the plum, the hazelnut, the nutty notes, the aldehydes, the honey, some fruit as well. I believe an apple. Very unique combination of notes. And I did not really enjoy, well, I shouldn't say that. I did not really love this one at first. I liked it. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy it. That was not what I meant to say. It was more so just I wasn't fully behind it. I wasn't someone that was backing the hype initially. And I don't know. You know, for me at the time, I was still hung up in 1 million Privé, which to me is still one of their very best works. 1 million Privé was probably their best 1 million flanker that they've ever done. And I would even argue to say it's probably one of their best, or PACO Rabanne's one of their best releases, hands down. It's fantastic stuff. Great cinnamon tobacco, beautiful. Discontinued, it's been that way for a while. That one got discontinued, had to kind of, you know, shift my focus onto other things, and I started giving some more attention to 1 million Lucky, and then I realized, you know what, maybe they were onto something here. This one is actually really good. It's one of those deals where you need to give it more than just a handful of half-assed wearings. I mean, you really need to get this one on skin, you need to wear it through its paces, try it out, really give it a chance. And once I did that, I realized that this is pretty interesting. And again, even looking at the notes, it's unique. There's some different combinations going on that you don't normally see. And similar deal, this one is just bizarre. It's still on retailers right now. Discounter-wise, it's not, but again, retailers it is. You know, to me, it makes sense that it's going to be discontinued, if not already, and they just have an abundance of it because this stuff, like PACO Rabanne's usually are going to be, you know, stocked heavy. And so my advice to you is if you have any sort of interest in the scent and you like it, maybe this is your 1 million Privé, please do not wait around. Grab yourself some while you can, because at the rate that they're pumping these out, it's only a matter of time. BVLGARI Aqua Marine is up next. So Aqua Atlantique has been discontinued now for a little while, and I can look up in my closet and see 4 bottles that I can see, 4 backup bottles still in the tester boxes, plus many more. So I don't mess around. I love Aqua Atlantique. Now, you could still sometimes get it. It pops up from time to time. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Aquamarine. On discounters, it's there. Okay, retailer-wise, it's getting iffy. Similar deal, I don't see this sticking around. I don't, okay? The original's probably going to be around to stay for a while, Aqua Pour Homme. Amara's been discontinued. All the tonics were a very limited run. What else are we left with now? You know, it's just this and Aquamarine, or Aquamarine and the original, whatever. Like I said, I don't see this one being around for that much longer, so pick it up while you can. Great, realistic, affordable marine scent. This video could not be created without DHP, DIOR Homme Parfum. Oh man, is this one of the best designers ever created? It is for me. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my best, you know, I don't know. It's one of the best works in my collection. It really is. So what is this one? It's all about the iris, of course, the oud, the rose. Okay, a little bit chocolatey, sweet, a little bit woody, but not crazy. Oh man, it's absolutely beautiful, breathtaking. This DNA is unlike any other. It is a big step up from DHI. Don't worry about them being redundant. They are not, couldn't be further from it. And so again, this is not discontinued, just in the US and Canada market here. It's just hard to get, you know, it's not offered at retailers and stuff. Overseas, it's no problem. So, you know, if you're overseas, you're fine. If you're over here, then it's an issue. Pops up often on Fragrance Buy, usually around 178, 180 bucks. Usually in limited quantities, although this last time it popped up for, I think, like 700 bottles of it. And so that was one where I sent out an email and pretty much everybody who was interested was able to get a bottle. So make sure you're on the mailing list and texting list. This one, I would say on average about once a month pops up. More often than you would think. Just most people miss it because they're not on my lists. But it happens. It shows up. It usually sells pretty quick. So get on there and you'll have no problem picking this one up. They run a limit on it, which is fair. I think that is a great thing to do. So you can only pick up 1 bottle at a time. I've already got mine, so I don't buy any more. But you know, each time it pops up, if you guys want to maybe just have one backup bottle or something and be set for a while, that's a great way to go. NUIT ISSEY Parfum is where we're going to end it, by ISSEY MIYAKE. It's all about the leather, the vanilla. A little bit of a smokiness in here too. I can't remember if it's an olibanum or something like that. But this is really good stuff. Unfortunately discontinued. It's a shame that they do this, but you know, they have so many of these flankers, I just got to make room somewhere. And it's another one that, again, I've said this a million times, but it's true. It pops up every so often in small amounts, and you can pick it up if you're being diligent. And I recommend it. You know, the fresh side of things, the ISSEY MIYAKE, you know, fresh ones in this bottle are just okay. Most of them, they're not too exciting. Blue Astral's pretty cool, and there's a few others. They don't get me too excited. But when you get over to the sweet ones like this, and Or Incense, and Noir Ombre, and things like that, they're beautiful scents. So check this one out. Pick one up when you have the chance. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some fragrances that are absolutely worth hoarding if you're into that sort of thing. I don't condone it. I don't even recommend it. You can hopefully make your own decisions with your money as an adult. I'm not here to try to change your mind in one way or another. But you know, these are ones that if you have any sort of interest in them, understand that the long-term, you know, buyability of these is probably going to be relatively limited. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.